my first influencer, and I still think of her, is my fourth grade teacher. Yeah. So
Okay.
I was a very poor student till fourth grade. Till
Okay.
this teacher of mine, she started taking interest in me. Yeah. And she believed in me, and she was invested in me. And, she was kind to me. And for a long time after that, I used to say, I want to become a teacher, right? But there was a turning point for me in my fourth grade where I started really doing well academically suddenly out of the blue. And I attribute that to the kindness and the trust she extended for me. Yeah.
Right.
So
Great.
for me, I aspire to extend that kindness and extend that growth mindset, to people, whether I'm working with the team, or I think my choice of profession itself
Yeah.
largely influenced by that. So I've been criticized for giving people a lot of rope and stuff like that, but I feel it is coming from a place that we cannot write off
Yeah.
people, right? And when you're kind, when you offer them what they need, they come up the curve. So
Great.
that's she's been a great influence for me, right?
Sure.
My first manager, and I feel like the first manager is so critical, right, for to really define your professional perspective. So my first manager, when I look back, uh, he was so tolerant of my mistakes. uh, he course corrected me at very critical point in time.
Right.
And there are so many things when I think of him, I can now make sense of, right? His name is Deepak Martin. Uh, yeah, so when I look back, there was a point in time I had the opportunity to travel abroad. And coming from a conservative family, my family was worried for me, and they said, hey, no, you're not married and you're not traveling abroad, right? And me being the good girl, I went to my manager and I said, I don't have permission from home, so I let this opportunity pass. So nice, right? So we talk about coaching is about asking questions and everything, but he sat me down and he told me that
Right.
what you're doing is stupid. Right? And think of what you can do and what you're leaving behind and stuff like that. And it was useful advice for me at that point in time, because
Yes.
that strengthened my conviction to go back and explain to my family that this is what I want, and I want
Yes.
it for the right reasons, and so I am gonna do that, right?
Excellent. Yeah.
So yeah, so things like that, and so many things that he's taught me at those formative years of career. So
Yes.
really look up to him.
Sure.
I can name Asfar Hussain, who's been my boss again in Flex, and he's such a embodiment of humility. He knows so much, but the way he engage with people, it's so humble. So
Yeah.
for me, he is the epitome of humility. So I measure my humility against him, and
Yeah.
then I know how much path I have. So that's a great insight.
Sure.
Santosh Cherian, and both of us have worked with him,
Yes.
right? He's been
Yes.
one of my toughest bosses, I'll confess, but
Yes.
at the same time, the most fair and
Yes.
most focused, I would say. I did
Absolutely.
some
Yeah.
great work with him, and one takeaway from him is, and I'll quote him. So he used to talk about three types of integrity. Yeah. So integrity of intent, integrity of intellect, and integrity of action. Yeah. So all of us talk about intent and action, but what was new for me is the integrity of intellect. So how do I apply integrity in the craft that I'm doing, which is learning? So
Right.
am I, conspiring with the convenience of the organization, doing it for the sake of it, or for optics or for other purposes like team engagement, or
Yeah.
for the leader to look good, or can I stand back and really challenge
Great.
and do learning for the for the learner? So lot of things like that I've learned from him. So yeah, many more leaders into it is so full of such seasoned leaders, and
Mm.
I can't wait to learn by observing them in action.
How was your
So
trip to the US? I've seen a post recently.
it was a good trip. It was an excellent trip. It was an offsite to discuss the strategy. So came back with a lot of context about into it, which I feel will help me uh,
Mm.
as I get started with my.